I would never be one to turn down that kind of an offer. I mean, I could be a stupid person and say, no, we don't want a free, very expensive airplane.
Good news for every dad that's ever bought a PlayStation for the kids, or that Lego set that your kids really wanted, or to every husband that came home towing a brand new boat for the family. Well, I have wonderful news. That strategy just made it all the way to the White House. Because that official reason that Donald Trump was allowed to accept that $400 million jet from the royal family of Qatar was that it really wasn't going to end up with him. It was going to end up for the library. You know, his library, everybody. This wasn't for him. I mean, and look, you got to remember that this is a man who has not voluntarily read a book since the Ford administration. Hell, I don't even know if he did it then. And he accepted this flying palace in the sky on behalf of his library.
I could be a stupid person and say, oh, no, we don't want a free plane. We give free things out. We'll take one, too. And I don't get it. Someday it'll be like Ronald Reagan. They decommission them. You know, they get to a certain age, they decommission them. It'll go to my library. They're talking about going to my library in years out. But I thought it was a great gesture. And it's something that was done by Ronald Reagan. They actually decommissioned the plane and he put it in his library. And it actually has made the library, I think, a Boeing 707. It's actually made the library more successful. So it was good.
Do you plan to use the plane after you leave office?
No, I don't. No, it would go directly to the library after I leave office. I wouldn't be using it. No.
And before I get to the update, the mechanics matter here. All right, so give me just 30 seconds to talk about the law. The Constitution flat out bars presidents from taking gifts from foreign governments. It's called the Emoluments Clause, and it is there because the founders of our country were terrified of exactly this: a foreign king handing an American president something shiny and expecting something in return. So the lawyers involved here invented a destination. The Air Force first, then it would go to a library after he leaves office, a museum. It goes to the public, not to Donald Trump. And they made that destination, his library, the entire load-bearing wall of their legal argument for accepting this plane. Donald Trump himself said it last year in May. It would go directly to the library after I leave office. I wouldn't be using it, no. But this week, that has started to unravel because Eric Trump told NBC News it is, quote, not the plan at the moment. And look, there's no press conferences, no speeches, no press releases. Eric just said it essentially into a text message like he was confirming his lunch order. And now the New York Times says that there is no final decision on where this plane ends up. It could end up in Donald Trump's personal service. And I have to ask, if the actual legal justification just disappeared, does that now reopen the bribery question? Or does nobody with the authority to ask that actually get to ask it anymore because Donald Trump will squash it? Let me know in the comments. And by the way, you and I, we already paid for an additional $400 million or so in security upgrades for this damn thing. And then they had to leave it behind in the UK last month because Trump was too scared to get on it. Of course, the official story was that Donald Trump wanted our soldiers over there to get a good look at the plane. Again, the actual story was that its defenses weren't good enough to fly him safely home because Iran is a little angry that Donald Trump is still bombing their country. So it's too dangerous to be the official Air Force One, and yet it's too expensive to give away and too embarrassing for Donald Trump to explain. So you have $400 million of an airplane, and its current job is to be looked at by troops in a different country. It is now a $400 million object with no destination, which puts it in the same category as that bread maker in your garage. Somebody gave it to you for Christmas. You said, thank you, I can't wait to try it out. And you genuinely thought you might make at least a loaf of bread with it. And now it just sits there under a tarp next to the Christmas decorations. and no one in your family has the guts to bring it up. Except that bread maker did not come with a constitutional crisis attached, and the person who gave it to you is not a foreign monarchy that keeps the receipts. Qatar knows exactly where they've parked that airplane. That's kind of the whole point of the gift. So where does this unwanted $400 million bribe airplane go from here? Air Force? No answer. It might be a third Air Force One. Maybe some other officials get to joyride in it. Doubt it. But maybe someday, maybe they donate it. Except donating it would require the Pentagon to file exactly one legal form, and in over a year, nobody has even tried to file that form. One form. I have filled out more paperwork returning a pair of running shoes last week than the Pentagon wants to do with this airplane. And the best guess, Donald Trump gets to keep this as his personal jet that a foreign government gave him. Which is, and I cannot stress this enough, the exact outcome the library plan existed to prevent. They wanted it to be a gift to America, but only one American will seemingly ever get to use it. That's why I'm going to ask that you subscribe, because we are going to keep tracking whatever happens to this $400 million grift, even if it doesn't end up in the library.